This is an open letter to Mr. Chuck Schumer. Hello, sir. How are you? Hope everything is fine. Uh, we heard about the issue going on in West Asia. We're very sorry. Uh, we are so very sorry for and of both sides. It's just it's unfortunate, the whole idea. Here is the thing, sir. Uh, it's not going well. You bought a house 75 years ago under certain conditions. You bought a house and you've been pouring money into this house for 75 years. And a lot of heartache has come of this investment that you have made. You put money in a project. You bought a house, a project house, and you kept pouring money in it, and you kept pouring money in it for 75 years, and the house is still shaky. The fucking natives don't let the house go. They're unhappy. The natives are unhappy about your project of, biblical project, personal project. Project. Israel was a project. It wasn't like, it wasn't that, it was a project. Clearing the land of the locals, of changing the whole flora and fauna, and giving a whole European look on the corner of Asia. It's obvious that it's a project. It's not organic. When you go to Israel and you go to the countries around Israel, which I've never been, but I can read. So these places that you go, you get a very different vibe from Cairo than you get from Jerusalem. You get it, or Tel Aviv, or one of their, new cities which they, built from zero, in an European style, in a very white manner. They built Israel. So it's a sore thumb that is standing out in the Middle East. You can call it the best thumb, the only democracy. Our little colony down there has a democracy that only allows its own citizen to vote, and always makes sure that the Europeans are always in majority. That's why they're pushing so many brown people back, to make sure that Europeans are in majority, stay in majority. And that's the whole idea there. The project is not so much. Because here's the thing, if the project is religious, then that's a bad idea. Because do you remember that the whole Crusades was Christians and Muslims not agreeing that who should be the ruler of this land? We're talking about a couple of 100 years of, fighting over that piece of land. Christians and Muslims fighting who should be the... the best times for those lands has always been those times that they were left to themselves, to be secular. Because so many people revere those lands, I don't know why, but because so many people have so much feelings, I guess, towards those lands, the only way to keep bloodshed off those lands is to keep it secular. Again, back to the Crusades. Before Crusades, that land has changed hands many times between Christians, Muslims, this, that, the other. Keeps happening. So a lot of bloodshed has taken place on that land. Why are we adding to it? Why are you adding to it? Because this whole project of, you know, we got to clear the land for our brothers and sisters who happen to be European. European majority, European system. It's out of place. It just is. It's and it as long as it keeps its European identity, it's going to be out of place. Now you can try to force it down the natives, but already there's so much blood has been shed that I'm kind of not sure how welcoming the natives are going to be even after twisting their arm to sign, twisting the arm of their leaders to sign, you know, sign papers, peace papers. I mean, the population in those countries, they have a large population of the people who used to live here. So then those mythologies and those stories from back home, this or that city that they had, these stories will not going to go away for 1,000 generations. Even, you know, and it only gets, you know, the stories get always exaggerated, and you know, these neighborhoods is not going, they're not going to be, you know, very peace minded because of, again, the displacement has caused an injury in the local flora and fauna of that part of planet Earth, which is brown, Arab in ethnicity, brown, and majority Muslim, but you can you can do a secular. The majority of the flora and fauna over there, because the, you know, flora fauna of any place is very much in touch with the flora and fauna of places around it. So you don't find very much different flora and fauna right next to each other. And having an European identity in the corner of Asia, which is all local Arab identity, is just, you know, they're different complexion. It's like over here they're all brown up to this point, and from here they're all pink. 90% those in charge. It's exactly a South Africa. It's just, I don't know if South African system had any kind of religious connotation to it. Probably these are all Zionist ideas that, okay, we are living in Europe, we are living on top of each other in Europe, we should spread out, and some of us should go over here, create a Zion in South Africa, some of us go over there and create a Zion in Jonestown, and some of us go create a Zion in fucking, you know, Philadelphia, and then Salt Lake City. You folks keep, you know, century after century after century, these colonial projects have been, you know, given the name Zion a lot. Salt Lake City was right before you, one of the last Zions. Basically, a bunch of Europeans declaring that, yeah, we want that piece of land, that's going to be our Zion. We're going to go get it and clear it off the flora and fauna. Up with their heads. Salute. So these projects, folks, is it worth it at this time, at this age, considering that the population of many of these northern hemisphere is going downwards? The population is, you know, are reproduced. They're not even reproducing their own replacements. So they're going backwards. Scandinavia has been going backwards for many years now. So fewer are being produced, but then these that are being produced are being wasted. These humans that have already been produced, being wasted, because you want to create a very specific, give that area a very specific European hue, European rule, European. Why? Oh, we all know why. It's because it's next to the Suez Canal, and as soon as the Egyptians went native, the British decided they need a footprint right next to the Suez Canal. So they thought, let's give the land that everybody wants to the Jewish people and say, okay, you protect it for us. Yes, of course it's for us, because Israel is the not seated member of NATO. You can say that it's Europeans. It's Israel football league, football team plays in Europe. The league of all their commercial teams play in Europe. So there is no question that Israel is a European identity. Okay, where is it located? Oh, it's in West Asia, which is a distinctly Arab identity. It's not. This is not a religious thing, folks. It seems at the surface and on the facade, you think we don't understand that this is the facade. This is not a religious thing. This is distinctly Europeans deciding to volunteer the Jewish folks to go defend the land for white people, on behalf of white people, because the Egyptians, if they don't play nice, we have bases over there, so we can teach them a lesson. And if the Russians don't play nice, we can blockade the Black Sea and basically choke their navy off. Again, this paranoid ideas that, folks, and I know the only solution to that area is that it be secular. That area has always had, Israel, Palestine, whatever you want to call it, that area has always did its best in the history of earth. That area has always done its best when it has been run by secular government. And those wise empires knew this, so those wise empire always didn't bother to touch the flora and fauna of this area. Leave it be. Don't try to change it by force, which is what crusade was all about. And as Muslim equivalent of crusade was all about. Many armies have passed over that area. That area does best if the rulers, the government, is a secular government. That's the only way that area is without problem. When it's the governing body of that area, Israel, Palestine, whatever it is, be one country, because it's a small piece of land. Be it one country and secular, with a secular constitution. That's the only way. And look at every person present as a citizen. Okay, come on in. Let's see if we can work together. Let's see if we can fucking walk down the same street together without, blowing each other up. It can be done. It's not that difficult. You did it in South Africa. It's not great. It's not going great, but it's, they still have some security, and they're working it out. You can't say because we run things better, because we as white people manage things better, we should be the ones in charge managing things. You can say that, but if you ask the Redskins who used to occupy North America whether they like to be as they were, or be happy that the Europeans are coming over and bringing new farming techniques to teach them and new weapons to sell them, If you ask the Redskins, do they want Europeans' new farming techniques and their guns, they would have chosen no. They would have said, no, 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 we are good as we are, thank you very much. And you stay on your side of the Atlantic, you do your thing over there, whatever it is you do, keep warring with each other. Europe at that time, Europe at all time. You keep warring with each other, Europe, Ukraine. You keep warring with each other, and then many of you set sail. Those who lose the war in Europe set sail and go to Argentina and kick the ass of the locals and throw them all into the ocean and become the owners of the land. This is exactly what you're doing with that area in Western Asia. You're basically saying that the natives go back this area. God promised these folks this area, and these folks happen to be white Europeans. You can do that, but do you see the problem with all the flora, fauna, and you keep having to chop them down, and they grow back. They grow back because they're the natives, and they are. Look at it this way, Mr. Chuck Schumer. Salute. In the history of your planet, every time the natives had to go underground was because an invading army was on top. In the history of your planet, the people in Gaza and West Bank are not the only people who are going underground. Why the natives would want to go underground? Why the natives? Forget about whether it's good or bad. But when the natives want to go underground, what does that tell you? When a foreign force comes in and the natives cannot face off the foreign force because they don't have the power to face off directly, so the natives go underground. That's why in Vietnam there are so many tunnel business and tunnel warfare. The natives go underground. Why do the natives go underground? Because a foreign force has come in to implement their will. A foreign force has come in to implement their will. Who was the foreign force in case of Vietnam? Uncle Sam's managers have sent in the folks. What is it? All is it? If let's put it this way, there is a very much injustice going on. Very much injustice is going on wherever you see your earthlings, your other human beings have to go underground, take their business underground. But business has to be quite illegal to go underground. You don't, underground a legal business. You underground a very illegal business, whether be it, movement of whatever that is not legal is taken underground. But if the whole population is in on it, of an area, and the whole population has have dug tunnels and have gone underground, that means a very much injury is taking place overground. That means they are being invaded. It was the same thing if you look at, the documents, available documents about all these tunnels and cities, small village size tunnels underground all over the Middle East. It's because they have been overrun a lot. They're present all over these Middle East, that villages that have gone underground. Europe, you don't have that, because you're too wet to go underground. It doesn't work out well. But Middle East, because it was dry, they always it's easy. It's a feasible way to do business because it doesn't rain that much and the soil is not that wet. So, for whatever reason, in that area, whenever the locals were being invaded, they went underground. All over Iraq and Turkey and Iran and Syria and all these areas on the map, if you look, every time they've been invaded, the Mongols, when they invaded, this area, West Asia, the locals who, thought ahead and hide somewhere when the Mongols went through the cities, these guys found a way to go underground, dig tunnels and, take their families underground and try to not be found. When the locals have to go under the ground, there's an injury taking place up there. There's an injustice taking place. Somebody has invaded and they're killing anybody inside. Because I guess, you humans see each other as extras. This is my world and you're extra. You don't have to be there. Here's the thing, sir. With all due respect, the problem, sir, with all due respect, Mr. Chuck Schumer, the problem is that when you remove the flora and fauna and you try to put your own flora and fauna, wherever you do that, the locals are not going to let the system. There's an injury there. There is an injury there. The injury has to be made healthy. And the only way that injury gets healthy is that if that injury takes the hue of the local flora and fauna. And that hue is Arab in nature. You see, north of it they're Arab, east of it they're Arab, south of it they're Arab. They're all surrounded by Arabs. And they're all brown, very brown, some of them very brown. And then distinctly, Israel is the pink-skinned Europeans who landed with the help of other Europeans. So I think everybody should stay where they are. It's just, everybody stay where you are. You can travel later, but let's make it a secular government. Everybody stay where they are. We have elections. You Arab people also form parties, participate in election, and we make it a secular state and come up with a secular constitution. It's that simple. It's just have to go back to being able to accept each other walking down the street. I don't think the Arabs don't mind European in their streets. Arabs actually welcome Europeans in their streets. All of these who are in camps, refugee camps, they love to go and live next to the Israelis. But as long as they don't have to be treated as a second-class citizen. So what the solution is simple. Make it a secular state. Let everybody go back to their home and make it a secular state. If you can make this land a secular state, it will have peace for 1,000 years. If the objective is peace, if Israel becomes a secular state, calls itself Holy Land, there's something that is acceptable for everybody, and becomes a secular state, then nobody has to fight over anything. Arabs are fine with living next to Europeans in that area, as long as they're given equal right. The only way that happens is that if you have a secular system running it. so everybody is treated fairly. Why is this such a unacceptable question? Why is this such an unacceptable question to say, why can't that area have a secular government? Because here's the thing, Mr. Schumer, with all due respect, sir. When you say this is a Jewish state of Israel, we say, okay, that's the Jewish state of Israel. But the problem is that that puts a religion's name on it, on that piece of land, right? When you put a religious name on that piece of land that is important to many other religions, the Christians and Muslims also, feel that's a very, important piece of land. Anyway, when you give it to one religion, what happens is that it inflames the area. That area that Arabs are seeing, that some Europeans have decided call this place Florida, and have moved to the neighborhood, and it has pretty much the same weather as Florida. So these Europeans have moved in, or mostly California. These Europeans have moved in, and they're not moving out, and they're kicking the locals out of that land. And let's not beat around the bush, sir. We all know that 90% of Israeli population are Europeans or North Americans who also came from Europe. This is an European country run by European people in European style. Democracy. That's when you say, you consider democracy as if like to say that's their badge of honor. That's a democracy. I don't know if it's a badge of honor. In your view, your system is good. Some other people may not understand your system because they have a different value system. That doesn't mean their system is wrong. If they are producing security and stability in that area, that means their system is good for that area. Am I coming clear, sir? If they're producing security and stability in the area under their control, that means they're using exactly as much force needed to keep those motherfuckers under control. Changing them under this guise that no, democracy has to be, applied, or else the system is wrong. Do they, those tribes in Amazon, they have been running their tribe in a certain way for the past 2, 3, 5, 6, 7,000, 8,000 years. They've been running their tribes in a certain way. Do you want to go in and say, no, you have to do it in a democratic fashion? What are you talking about? So the whole idea of giving it a very, a sacred, you give it a sacred place to say that because it's democratic, it must be good. They're pushing the local flora and fauna back, and then they call it democratic because now in this area there are more whites. It's basically gerrymandering. Israel is I'm sure you're familiar with the term gerrymandering. Israel is gerrymandering a piece of land to push the brown people out, put enough white people here, so so the majority in this piece of land would be white people, and we call it Israel. It's a gerrymandered piece of white people in a corner of brown people. Anyway, sir, the only way this will work out is if Israel becomes a secular state. Just be nice to your neighbor and say, okay, This area is Arab in nature. Okay, I'm gonna open all these camps, refugee camps or whatever that I've squeezed the brown people in them. I'm gonna open these. You can go back to your fucking shitholes that you were living in, but you have to. We will have elections and we have a secular constitution, and we all live happily ever after. Under that construct, I'm sure these fucking Muslim natives are going to go along with that because the Muslim natives are not, necessarily hell bent on Islam. Go to Lebanon and see, all the belly dances you want. They're not hell bent on Islam because they have large populations of Christians mixed in with them. So under normal conditions, they are not don't want to necessarily be Muslim fundamentalists or, be crazy about it. They all accept to be secular. You do your religion, I do my religion, but we have a secular law. Just like United States, Mr. Schumer. Why not, implement United States in that area? Implement the same system that is in the United States. Say, okay, from today, we open the refugee camps, you go back to your life, then we have elections and make it like United States, secular. Folks, Mr. Chuck Schumer, secularism has worked. Secularism has worked well. Do you see where I'm going with this? If secularism has worked so well in Europe and North America, but you have been pushing for 75 years, you have been putting money towards a project of pushing exclusivity in that part of the world. This has to be exclusively Jewish. In actual fact, what you're saying is because Ashkenazi Jews comprise 90% of the population of the Jewish of the planet Earth are Ashkenazi Jews, and they are the majority, 90%, and they're all 90% are European. 90% of all the Jewish people of the planet are European. Good odds if you have a European colony. If you want a European colony, you can call it the Jewish colony, because 90% are going to be European. You can do that. You have been spending money to keep saying that no, we can do this. No, we can do this. Sir, if the idea is not a winner, how long does it take for us to say, yeah, maybe we should try another idea? 75 years is not enough. For 75 years, these folks have been fighting the locals. The native shitty Arabs. For 75 years. It's not because they're Arabs and they're stupid that they keep fighting back. It's because that's what the natives do of every land. When people of other lands come to their home and kick them out, the natives continue, trying to get their land back. If you want to, slam, if you want to vaporize 500, 600 million of them, all these natives, because they're all cousins, you want to vaporize all of them from Jordan to the border of India. You want to vaporize all of them, and from Egypt to Morocco, you want to vaporize the other lot of them. You can do that, but it's the idea of South Africa fighting the whole Africa to stay white. You can do that. Is it worth it? I mean, I sometimes feel Jewish. So whenever I feel Jewish, I think, what is going on there, is it worth it? destruction is never worth anything. Destruction, you have built so little of earth and you're destroying whatever shitty little you have built because you're fighting over the land. There is a lot, you have a lot of empty land, but you're fighting over very small patches. I have another video that Timbuktu is open. Somebody should declare Timbuktu as a Zion and, go build Timbuktu. Yeah, the British already tried. That's another thing. It's everywhere we declare who's going to be the next Zion. Moon. Let's try to build moon, Mr. Schumer. Let's. This is just you. When the project you put so much money and effort into it for 75 years, and the project is still not a winner, then you say maybe we should try something else. Maybe we try a secular government over there and see if that works. You see, if you can't solve the problem by just continuing hitting it with a hammer, it's not going to solve the problem if the solution is not a hammer. If the problem has not been solved with a hammer for 75 years, if the problem has not been solved with a hammer of military might for 75 years, I don't think that, I think, military might as a solution should be, put aside for 5 seconds and see what other options are available beside military might. Because that has been tried for 75 years and it's just created more inflammation of that region of the planet Earth. It has caused more inflammation in that region of planet Earth. Arms. You have tried arms and military might in that area to keep that area a religious state for 75 years, and it hasn't solved the problem. It hasn't solved the problem. The military might has not solved the problem. It has just inflamed the area more. Maybe you want to think maybe we should give this a different kind of. Maybe we should give find it for a different kind of solution. Maybe it's like we can't do it by force. Let's see if we can, if we do a secular state, will it work? If we do secular state, will bloodshed stops? Okay, let's do a secular state. Try it. 75 years you've been trying to make it a religious state. Maybe 25 years try it to make it a secular state. See if that works. But that's the problem. The problem is you're still worried, paranoid about the Suez Canal. You as the representative of the pink skin empire, you're worried about whether if you give this up as a base to protect your interest on the Bosphorus and the Suez Canal. If you do that, if you're worried about that, which is the case, but nothing really bad happened when South Africa went native. Nothing really bad happened. Still, you can work with South Africa. Nothing really, natives are not that crazy. If you work with them, they work with you. This is an European paranoid mind that says, no, the natives are crazy. We're gonna have it our way. We're gonna have our own guys over there. so we can count on them. So if the Egyptians wanted to close down the Suez Canal, we can overcome them through Israel. This is the idea behind Israel. We have a military might over here sitting, military base here, and everybody is military over there. Everybody, poor Jewish folks have to go to military, and everybody is carrying a gun. Folks, do you see the resemblance between, the Europeans in North America, where everybody had to carry a sword because the fucking natives didn't want them on their land, to now the Israeli folks have to carry around M16s just as a, yeah, it's a normal thing. I carry my M16 with me while I walk around. I've seen the pictures coming out of Israel. The people going to their military duty or coming back from their military duty, and this is your government issue weapon, and it's a normal thing to carry it around. Who wants to live under that kind of stress? That kind of stress has become normal for Jewish people in that area of the world because they want to be exclusively European, because they want to be exclusively European run and European managed by Europeans for Europeans. For that reason, they have to carry guns all day. That's a little paranoid. That's a little paranoid. I'd rather, open the border and live with the people who want to live with you and who have a reason to be with you, and give them rights. But then, walk down the street and be friends with them. It's just there are going to be more of them, brown people, than white people, because, well, it's brown land. Excuse them that there is going to be more of them than you, but as long as they don't have a problem with you being there as also their citizen, you should be fine. What's the problem with secularity? Here's the thing, Mr. Chuck Schumer. This is what I was trying to reach to this point. Your promotion of a Jewish identity in Israel has come full circle, and has resulted the promotion of, your promotion of Jewish nationalism over there has come full circle and has resulted in promotion of Christian nationalism right under your head. You see, your promotion. When they say you, I mean the whole Europeans, British, French, North Americans who thought of the idea of Israel. Like, yeah, why not? You go over there. Those people who thought of the idea, the British who approved the idea, up to the British approval, it was just an idea. Just because the British thought they owned the title to that land, they basically gave the title to that land to whoever they wanted, and this is how they decided to do in their fucking wisdom. Oh, British and their fucking wisdom. It's like they enjoy creating pain. British are, great creators of pain. From Kashmir to Falklands to Israel to I think the British should be kicked out of the United Nations. Here's to the British. Sir, the only way this system is going to work over there is if you have a secular state there. If you have a secular state over there, if you stop being paranoid about Suez Canal and thinking that, we have to have some kind of power over there to keep control over Suez Canal, if you get a little less paranoid, if you get, your stop listening to people who keep making you paranoid. If you deal well with people, they deal well with you. And you really don't need that. No need to have that kind of firepower over there to keep the locals down. If you deal nice with people, people deal nice with you. What happened with Hong Kong? We went back to the locals and they're doing okay. You see what I mean? Even Taiwan goes back to the local. It's going to be okay. It's not. If you're not in control, this is what I'm trying to say, Mr. Schumer. If you're not in control in the areas that traditionally the flora and fauna is brown or black or yellow, if you're not in control, it's still okay. They're not. You can still be friends with them. Not everybody all the time, everywhere has to be under your control so you can feel, less stressed. If you work nice with people, they work nice with you. This is a little paranoid to say, no, no, no. We have to be in control or else everything will go to shit. Will it? I don't think so. I don't think so. You're not giving enough credit to the natives. You're not giving enough credit to the natives. The natives, the brown, the blacks, and the yellows, and the greens, and whatever, the natives can manage their own shit. They might not follow your form of governance or economy because their culture is not your culture and your economy. It's not that. It's the fucking tribal people of Amazon. They live in a different paradigm. They live in a different paradigm. Why do you folks keep insisting that everybody has to live in your paradigm? I love your paradigm. Many don't. But if you stop, invading them, they will stay in their paradigm and you will stay in your paradigm and everybody's happy. It's just that trying to enforce your paradigm on other people, encroaching on other people's paradigms, leads to war. Just trying to enforce your paradigm. In your paradigm, Ukraine has to be part of NATO. Well, maybe somebody else has a different paradigm. And if there was no war then, we can see that there was a condition in which there can be no war. Could we go back to that condition in which there was no war? It's not that difficult, folks. But you keep playing these games with each other on this planet, playing these games of it's Monopoly games. This fucking. You have a very popular game called Monopoly. And these Monopoly games that you play, that I have to own this and this so I can collect rent on that and that. And these Monopoly games in the at the international level, these Monopoly games at the international level is creating all these wars. Again, as Musk and a lot of other people have been saying that, hey, we are not producing enough humans, you may go extinct. If the cycle picks up, you may go extinct, and you're killing a few that are born to see if we can get rid of them faster because we have a disagreement on who owns the title to the land. Salute, sir. Sir, that some areas on your planet are exclusive and some areas on your planet are inclusive. Vietnam was exclusive. White people went exclusive to a specific language and specific race and ethnicity and skin color. Another race decided to go in and bring them their form of economy forcefully. You have to follow our form of economies or something of that nature. And so many human beings were wasted of both sides. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. You're fighting over a piece of land that we all know the best form of governance for it, on it, is a secular form of government, period. The only form of government that makes sense is a secular form of government, period. And the thing that will stop the bloodshed is run more or less Israel as they're running Lebanon, because Lebanon has a lot of different mixture of minorities too. Still, it's got Christians and Muslims, and I don't know if there are any Jews left. But the point is this, they have more or less the same composition of population. Lebanon and Israel, both more or less same place on the east of Mediterranean. They're both more or less the same place. So the natural flora and fauna for Lebanon is naturally the same natural flora fauna of Israel. Should be the same natural flora fauna of Israel. That's mostly Arabs, majority of Arabs, because it's that part of Asia that Arabs are in majority. It's that part of Asia. I didn't have anything to do with it at this point in time on planet Earth. You know, with the way sun is positioned, white people are on the northern hemisphere, brown people are in the center, black people get, but when it gets really hot, the people there are black. This is, this is a natural design. You have taken a bunch of Europeans to West Asia under that sun and arid condition. You have taken people over there and forcing them to get skin cancer. To what end? Rapture is supposed to come? You folks have an obsession with rapture. Here's the thing, the connection I'm trying to make for you, sir. When you push for Jewish nationalism over there in Israel, the problem is that their secular leaders were defeated by the Jewish nationalism that you supported and promoted, are promoting. The secular leaders in that neighborhood had a war with the Jewish nationality, identity, with the Jewish identity of Israel. They had a war and their secular leaders lost. I believe he was called Jamal Abdel Nasser, the Egyptian guy, and the rest of the motherfuckers who lost their war. But the point is this, to Israel. Okay, they lost the war. Their secular leaders lost the war, lost the fight. So what happened? They went back with a bloody face to their people and their people understood that they weren't able to push the foreigners out. Okay, fine. What happened? If you return to history, you will see, sir, that after the secular Arab leaders lost the war with the invading European invaders, after that is when you started seeing one after another these countries becoming Islamized, Muslim nationality, and because all of them are Muslims, so a kind of Muslim fundamentalism is one way of describing Muslim nationality. You have a Jewish nationality, Jewish identity, then you have this Jewish identity that suddenly appeared, started inflaming the Muslim identity of the neighborhood because their secular leaders lost the war. So the neighborhood started becoming more Muslim, extra Muslim, with extra cheese and extra pepper and really Muslim, because you kept pushing the Jewish identity of Israel. So the neighborhood became even more Muslim, because that's what you do. Humans, this is nature. You push one side and the nature pushes one side back to try to balance things off. You push the Jewish identity, the natives had a Muslim identity, and their secular leaders lost the war to the Jewish identities. So the religion of the natives, their religion was going backwards. Their religion was just, here's the thing. In the Middle East, if you look at the pictures from the Middle East of before the creation of Israel, and for a decade or so after creation of Israel, all of West Asia was moving to secularism, just like Europe. All of West Asia was moving towards secularism, just like Europe. What happened that suddenly the Muslims in West Asia suddenly decided to go back to religion? They were all, these old pictures you see of all over Middle East, women in skirts and high heels. What happened? Israel happened. Jewish identity was promoted, allowed, approved, incentivized. So it inflamed, and because there were Europeans, there were invaders who have set up shop and taken control of a piece of land. So the natives got upset. They were pushed out of their homes. And their neighbors got upset. You know why? Because they went and made their land a little smaller. Nobody likes immigrants. Nobody likes immigrants because you feel that you're being invaded. Human beings have always been moving around Earth. When they move, that's fine. But when somebody else moves into their land, that's not fine. It's like you like to move, but God forbid somebody moves into your land. This is what's happening. You are taking responsibility for this situation. Of 75 years, we are going to, fight the locals so we can take full control of, keep full control of this land. 75 years not enough. I believe a couple of million people have died, and the numbers are great. The numbers is 10 to 1. For every one European that is unfortunately killed, 10 natives are unfortunately killed. Okay, fine. They're the natives. Arabs are the natives. you kill more, they reproduce more. Because they're the natives. You have to keep importing everything to Israel. Humans, you know, ammunitions, guns. The natives, they just have to make it themselves because they're the natives. It's a game theory, Mr. Schumer. The natives, the only things the natives have to do in order to win the war is just not lose. But the invaders, the only way they can win the war is to continue paying for it, continue fighting. The invaders never win the war because they're not the natives. The invaders have to keep spending money in order to win the war. You know, unless you are willing to go as far as, you know, wiping out the whole of, you know, all of the cousins, all of West Asia. If you eliminate 500-600 million people in West Asia, North Africa, then it would be just like United States. Sort of like, okay, fine, we got it. Brown people are out of the picture just like the red people. Let's build it our way, the white way. You can do that. You have done that in the history of your planet, but there is enough space for everybody, I think. Is there? Isn't there enough space? I don't mind walking down the street with white people and black people and brown people. I don't mind. Why do you folks mind walking the street with people of other races and other religions? Why does it have to be pure? Nobody is pure on this planet. We come from shit, we go back to shit. There's no purity here. Nobody's pure, nobody's chosen, nobody's special. You come from dirt, you go back to dirt. What part of this is special? The whole idea that we are special is racist. Nobody's special. Who's special? The idea that we are special and this land should be given to us because we are special because of this and this. In this book and that book it says we are special. I'm telling you, in this book it says we are special. Does it work? Has it ever worked in the history of your planet? Has it ever worked? The idea that we can give to one ethnicity and one religion that inclusive piece of area. As I said before, Mr. Schumer, you have two kinds of lands. You have exclusive lands like Vietnam. You have exclusive land like Norway. You have exclusive land like Finland. But then you have inclusive lands like Israel, Holy Land, Palestine, whatever you want to call it. That's an inclusive piece of land because it involves many religions. Many people claim it. Just like Cairo. Many people claim it because it was right on the, bridge between Africa and Asia where, you humanoids migrated to from Africa to Asia. Because of that, that's the traditional, sacred place of all humanoids out of Africa. All humanoids out of Africa who traditionally have been created out of Africa. That's a traditional place for them because it's right. The first campsite right out of Africa is the Holy Land. And then from there, you decide you want to go towards Asia or you want to go towards Europe. That's what happened to the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens and the rest of them. That's, so everybody can claim that place. Everybody is, all except Africans. Africans don't have any claim on that because they never got out of Africa. But the rest who got out of Africa and evolved to other races can have a claim on Africa. Even the Chinese can have a claim on Israel. Even the Chinese. Because their ancestors also passed through that land. So the only way to make that land great for everybody, I'm talking about, Star Trek kind of greatness. You can start it right now. It doesn't have to be a dream. The Star Trek kind of greatness starts from there by declaring that land as secular. Just like all of Europe and North America. Here's the thing, folks. Back to my point. You're pushed up to now, for 75 years, you have pushed Jewish nationalism to that area. Their secular leaders lost the wars to you. Their natives, therefore their natives have reached for their own religion because they're seeing a very unique foreign European religion that has kicked their ass, so they go to their religion, which is Islam. So the whole fucking Middle East, West Asia becomes Islamified because they're looking for a solution for Israel. They're not looking at it because of their religion. You see, when you emphasize religion, one religion, another religion in a neighborhood, that's going to be emphasized. Now, if they have a claim over the land, the natives have a claim over the land, which they do, so their religion becomes part of the reason they have a claim for the land. That becomes another reason. They give it a religious hue because of the invaders. It's not that difficult, folks. It's not that difficult to understand. It's the invaders are declaring themselves to be Jewish. Okay, we are the locals. What is our religion? Okay, we're declaring ourselves as Muslims. So while the Europeans became secular and Asians were becoming secular, the West Asians were becoming secular, just like Europeans, suddenly you introduce Israel as a Jewish state of Israel, suddenly all these fucking neighborhoods, one after the another, the countries became Islamic. Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Islamic Republic of Iran, Islamic Emirat of Afghanistan, even the fucking Saddam got on the train and put Allahu Akbar between the stars. The flag of Iraq used to be 3 stars, and suddenly the fucking guy put an Allahu Akbar between it. That is because of Israel. Because they have, increased the heat of religious, fever in Israel. It's like, this is a Jewish state, this is a Jewish state, this is a Jewish state. The fucking neighborhood goes, oh, this is a Muslim state, this is a Muslim state, this is what you monkeys do. You became stimulated. If somebody starts eating something really, imagine somebody eating something right next to you with a lot of vigor. What happens? You become stimulated to eat it too. This is a primate thing. This is a mammal thing. This is a chicken thing. Chickens get stimulated when they see other chickens start eating. They start eating. No matter it's coming out of their beak, they can't eat, but they still, when they feel the vigor of the group eating, the chickens also get hungry, they want to eat, even though they're full. So the point is this fever that these animals have, including human, is the fever of seeing somebody else being very, into their religion. Oh, okay, I have to get into my religion. Especially if those others are invaders of a different religion, and suddenly, of course, I have to go back to my religion to have something to counteract their religion, because they're the invaders. I need all the equipment I can get, all the lever I can get, and one of the levers that the local native population have against their invaders, one of those levers is their religion, their nationality. They tried that. They were all had their nationality, and they all attacked on the 6-Day War, and they all got rebuffed, and then their population became religious. Now their population has become religious because of existence of Jewish fever over here. Now they have inflicted Muslim fever over here, and surprise, surprise, this Muslim fever over here now, 75 years later, have inflamed that Hindu fever in India. It was a Jewish fever here, caused the Muslim fever here, and now you have the Hindu fever over here. The Hindus have become very religious, and icing on the cake, because of your recent wars and recent interference with the business of the Middle. When I say you, I mean NATO, white people. Because of your recent interference in the Middle East and pushing so many people out as refugees and immigrants because of economic reasons or political reasons or whatever else reasons. Nobody wants to leave their home. When they do, it's because they're uncomfortable. Period. And you have to see if you were the reason that made them uncomfortable to leave. Then you have to look at yourself and say, okay, maybe we look for a different solution. This is because here's the thing, Mr. Chuck Schumer. Here's what you have created. And when I said it has gone full circle. Jewish nationalism has called into Jewish fever. Jewish nationalism has caused Muslim fundamentalism around the region, around its neighborhood. Jewish nationalism has called Muslim fundamentalism around the neighborhood because they're the natives and they don't want a foreign entity in their neighborhood. They formed an alliance, and the only thing that brings them together is their religion. Because that's the area is generally Arab and Muslim. And a group of Europeans have declared independence in a Muslim land, in an Arab land. Now, after so many wars, beside all this, after inflaming Muslim fundamentalism because of the Jewish nationalism, after inflaming the Muslim fundamentalism, then you brought some wars to the neighborhood. A lot of these people who had become Muslim fundamentalists because of Israel have moved to Europe, mostly to Europe, some to North America, because of the wars that you brought and sanctions and embargoes, and you try to beat the shit out of them, the neighborhood in West Asia. Under the disguise of protecting them, you've been beating the shit out of them. So a lot of them have immigrated out, have come to your countries with the Muslim nationality in their mind because they were pushed out. Because of your wars and because of Israel. They've been pushed out, after they became Muslim, really Muslim, because of Israel, they were kicked out because of your wars. Now they have brought Muslim fundamentalism, or when I say Muslim fundamentalism, is Muslim being extra Muslim. This is what I mean. It's not a Muslim fundamentalism. It's being extra Muslim. A lot of Muslims I know don't do any prayers. If you are used to know, pray. I knew. I've seen them pray. Let's put it that way. So it's not a fundamentalism as so much you can say they're extra Muslim. What do you mean? What I mean by extra Muslim? They have decided that if they go back to their Muslim traditions, they can get their land back. This is, I'm putting it in a very, direct wording. They feel if they go back to their traditions, their religion is one of their traditions. By going back to their traditions, then they have something to put up against the Israelis who have gone back to their tradition. This is their religion, and they've inflamed their religion. Now these folks who have become very religious in West Asia because of Israel, they have become very religious Muslims, and now they have been pushed into northern hemisphere because of the wars that you brought to more of them, and sanctions and embargoes. Now they're practicing their extra Muslim faith in northern hemisphere, and your Christian neighbors, Mr. Schumer, are up in arms. It's like, what the fuck is this? Why are they practicing their Muslim traditions here? Or why are they practicing their extra Muslimness here? And the answer is because they were pushed out because of Israel. They were pushed out because of your wars, sanctions, and embargoes in that West Asia. And before they were pushed out, they were radicalized. They became extra Muslims because of that. Israel was extra Jewish. That's what you can call Israel, right? They do have they allow a few Arabs here and there in between their midst, but as long as they keep European majority there. Folks, this is not difficult to see, because the Muslims those extra Muslims are in Northern Hemisphere, Europe and North America. The Christians are up in arms. Now the Christians are going back to their religion in Northern Hemisphere. And that's why you have all these winning from Christian right. Because now the Christians are going back to their religion. Because this business of religion, this is how it is. Your neighbor comes in with a different religion and you're thinking to yourself, am I in the wrong neighborhood or is he in the wrong neighborhood? Because you have fucking ideas. Think religion is everything. Still, a lot of you. And then when religion is one of those things that when one starts practicing it very feverishly, it kind of makes other people uncomfortable, because then other people have to think that, okay, what is my religion? This guy is practicing his religion very feverishly. What is my religion? What do I have to practice too? Then you start doubting yourself that maybe I should practice my religion too. And especially because these motherfuckers who are coming in are brown and they're not Christians. So maybe I should, and since they're so overtly practicing their religion, maybe I should go and practice my religion more overtly. Mr. Schumer, Christian nationalism is the full circle. Jewish nationalism, Muslim fundamentalism coming to secular Christian land, and forcing the Christians to the secular Christians to become Christian nationalists. And Christian, the last time you guys went to Christian nationalists was, you came up with swastikas, you white people. The last time you went to, things ended up with a swastika. You are forcing Christian nationalism. You're creating Christian nationalism, Mr. Schumer. Jewish nationalism forces the neighborhood to become inflamed and declare that, now they're Muslim fundamentalists. You saw Egypt. As soon as they had one election, and the population showed that the population is Muslim Brotherhood, Muslim nationalist, Muslim fundamentalist. They showed it to you. All of that area, if you leave it alone and if you don't control it with these kings, they all become Muslim this, Muslim that, Islamic Republic of this and Islamic Republic of that. Just like Iran and Pakistan and Afghanistan and Iraq. They still have Allahu Akbar in the middle of the Iraqi flag. What does that tell you? That tells you that they have returned the religion that didn't exist on their flag. They have returned it to the fucking flag. What does that tell you? That means religion has been inflamed. Why? Because their religion is Muslim, but because next door Jewish people who declare themselves Jewish have invaded the brown skin land, the European folks who have declared themselves to be Jewish have invaded the brown skin Asian land. European pink skins have invaded brown skin Asians of their land. And this has come full circle. You have to deal with these Christian nationalists, which is not a good idea. The last time it went to shit, the world war. Now you're causing again the same thing. Solution? If Israel becomes secular tomorrow morning, declares that they're going to put together a secular constitution, everything will stop. Everything will go back to normal. Secular, just like United States. We love United States. Let Israel be United States, a secular state. Brown Muslims will stop going to Northern Hemisphere countries, will stop going, and the Christian nationalists will calm down, and we can, live a few more years. Is that, too much to ask, folks? The solution is simple. Declare Israel, force Israel to become secular, like South Africa. Race, religion, it's European. Again, it was never race, it was never religion. It's an European entity, Israel. When you declare it secular, then you have to let the brown people in. Everything will go back to normal. That's the solution, sir. In my humble view, in our humble view, me and my little friends.